Okay, so I'm looking for UFO stuff, National Correspondence Dinner on UFOs, and I was supposed to have done this way last week or something about England and the UK, and on other media sites I've done stuff about the dictatorship of the UK has become a dictatorship, and how Islam extremists, Muslim extremists, I should say, have been targeting natives. They're beating them, committing crimes against the native white people there, and it's happening more across Europe as well. A lot of bad stuff has been happening. Think of it as this, okay? You know how the Europeans messed up and destroyed most of the Native American tribal areas here in the U.S.? Well, the same thing is happening, except for it's reverse in the UK in a lot of ways. Let's go look and take a look at this stuff.
Behavior can put you in jail.
Arresting you. This is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
We do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material.
You may disagree with Tommy, but come on, freedom of speech.
He's making comments on an open forum, which is social media, which is deemed to be offensive.
They don't believe it. They don't believe it. You don't let freedom of speech start with them.
I've been asked to come speak to you to make you aware that your comments are visible online.
Let me speak to you, yes.
Yeah, what's up?
It's about comments which have been made on social media.
So there's a report about some beliefs being expressed.
Many believe these laws operate within a double standard known as two-tiered policing, where certain protected groups don't get punished while others do.
Now I've come here because of them babies who's died, and I'm being arrested.
There's no two-tier policing. There is policing without fear or favour.
Hey, I'm a non-violent guy. Why do I have to turn off? Where's my freedom of speech? Recently, this 61-year-old man named Peter Lynch was convicted of violent disorder after shouting "scum" and "child killers" at police and holding this sign.
Get back from the shield!
I pray for my children! I pray!
He was sentenced to jail.
Let's just have doing reports on this for over 6 years on what's been happening in the UK and Europe. It's very bad. It's something that, could have happened here. The reason why I voted for Trump, and again, I'm independent, I vote for Democrats too, but with the dictatorship that has happened in some parts of Europe, and especially UK, and I called Keir Starmer a piece of shit dictator. Why? Because I have lineage in the UK. I have lineage, royal lineage, about 600 years ago. And let's just say, if I went back to UK, I'd serve at least 10 years in prison for saying that the people should rise up and revolt against the government that's happening there.
For 2 years and 8 months, and killed himself in prison out of fear of Islamist prison gangs killing anyone associated with the term far-right.
That man will never have another Christmas for what? For saying he's worried about our f***ing country! Are you mad?
And these are thousands of Brits protesting the British government for two-tiered policing, mass migration, the death of free speech, the Islamization of England, and the unfair weaponization of the legal system to imprison journalists and activists like... charged with terrorism for refusing to give the police the password to his phone. In fact, you might have recently heard the name Tommy Robinson after he was blamed by the media and the British government, claiming he caused riots in Southport for video rants like these posted on Twitter.
Children being butchered and murdered. Stop the f***ing boats. They're endangering the safety of our families.
After a 17-year-old went on a mass stabbing spree, killing 3 little girls in a dance studio. The media told the British public that the stabber is
17 British born in Wales and of Rwandan heritage.
The suspect has no known links to Islam.
And in turn blamed Tommy for the rioting that ensued.
So do you denounce Tommy Robinson? Do you denounce him for inciting the rioting by telling people it was a Muslim illegal
I'm not going to
migrant?
Denounce what?
Telling people it was an illegal Muslim?
Turns out, just a few days ago, they found an Al-Qaeda training manual in his computer teaching him how to build a ricin bomb.
You fought this war on our shores. You brought danger on our shores. They're justified in their anger. Yes, there's a better way to do it, but they don't see no better way.
Now, Tommy has as many supporters as he does haters, with entire counter-protests formed against him and his supporters.
You are on racist!
F off Nazis. And with nearly the entire British mainstream media labeling them far-right, Islamophobic, racist, and fascist, how did England become this divided? And is Tommy Robinson a far-right, Islamophobic racist? Or is he a brave journalist speaking up on real issues the mainstream media refuses to acknowledge?
This issue is political Islam. It's political Islam that's spreading across this country.
1,000 years of culture and history is nearly gone. You're a young English man. You should be proud of who you are. Not searching for this. I embrace you to leave Islam. Come back, man. Our entire next generation don't know who.
And you could say he's an asshole for doing that, going on for a guy being a Muslim and stuff like that. But let's just say with what's gone on, all right, let's talk about this in a calm way, is that this has been happening for decades now. 20 years has escalated. You're talking about Muslims that they have about 4 or 7 kids versus UK native white people in particular that have 1 or 2 kids, maybe 3 at most. And so what you have in these countries is Muslims and other migrants really destroying the fabric of what it was. I want to hear what people have to say this as well, because I've been doing reports on this for I don't know how long, 6 to 8 years, no over. Probably is 8. It's over 8 years. Over 8 years. Over 8 years. Over 10. Because this, wow. And it's like, people can say that, let's go on both sides and look over things here.
Who they are. They've been beaten down so much, abused so much, made to feel ashamed of who they are.
Do you think the UK ends in civil war?
Inevitably, the whole of Europe will end in civil war.
But to understand the state of England today, we'll have to go back in time 15 years ago to Tommy's hometown of Luton, where he started the infamous English Defence League.
This is a 50% Pakistani Muslim town. The town is dominated. The streets are controlled by Pakistani drug gangs. White English are a minority. This is the blueprint for every town and city across the UK.
Why did you end up founding the EDL? What was the impetus? What was the catalyst?
I'd grown up and watched the change in the town. I'd watched the demographic replacement, and I'd seen the attack on freedom. I'd seen the 2-tier policing, the 2-tier justice, the 2-tier everything. Where one community, the Islamic community, are treated with kid gloves, and everyone else was treated with iron fists. There were prostitution, drug gangs prostituting young white English or black girls, and the police were doing nothing.
More specifically, Tommy is referring to the now infamous grooming gangs, where thousands of non-Muslim girls across England every year are targeted on the basis of being white, referred to as easy meat by mostly Pakistani men who would get them hooked onto drugs and then sex traffic them. Tommy's cousin was a victim of these gangs. The British police didn't do anything despite knowing about the rapes, and the media would not acknowledge or report on the story out of fear that they would be called racist or Islamophobic. Tommy was
This is a problem with what has happened in the UK, is that, and in America, and is that people are afraid to call it things are because of fear of racism. And what happened in America is people say enough of the bullshit with the left doing that. They said we're not taking your shit anymore, and if we vote for a certain person, that doesn't make us racist. If we talk about illegals from any country around the world, it doesn't make you racist against a certain kind of people. You're just putting out the facts and stuff. And what's creating this hate, if anything is creating this racism and hate of illegals and migrants, it is the politicians with this two-tiered policing system, two-tiered media that caters for illegals and migrants around the western part of the world. And they'll attack you, and they'll shut you up by calling you a racist, etc., 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 and just a hateful person, and that these people need help. Well, when you start taking over a country, commit violent acts against the natives, and you do it out of race, ethnicity, and religious reasons, and you try to, another side tries to put extremism and Sharia law versus the countries that they're going to promotes more freedom of speech, freedom of thought, versus the extremism of another side in religious, political, sociological ways.
In essence, the first person to vocally speak up against these gangs.
There are only 15-year-old girls that you know that you've grown up with that have been raped or pimped. You don't. So I don't expect you to understand the issues.
These are all personal issues of yours.
Personal issues in towns and cities like mine, and they're not happening with the Sikh community. They're not happening with the Jewish community.
And indeed, they're not happening with most Muslims.
No, they're happening within the Islamic community. That's what I'm saying, that it's an Islamic problem. And when I'm just a simple person, so I'm just a normal person, but when
I don't want to be labeled as Islamophobe. There's good Islamic people. I have to say this because I know some idiots are to say I'm an Islamic Muslim hater. I'm not. What I'm saying is that people from these countries, extremists from those countries, are coming over and they're really creating an infection of extremism and trying to change what is free thought, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and they want one religious Sharia type law or one set of standards for them and one for the natives. And that's to pretty much, it's always be their bitch in some ways, you know?
I'm looking at, I have to look for where this hatred is coming from. And talking about these girls like they're statistics. They're not statistics. These girls are, well, whose daughters do you think these are? Whose sisters? They're ours. In working class towns and communities. For 20 years, our counsellors and the leaders from the Islamic community have conspired with the police to not deal with Muslim pimping gangs. They've allowed systematic rape of our youth by the fact of being scared to be called a racist.
The police are literally scared of the Islamic community. I'd seen the dominance, I'd seen kids.
Do you see a pattern here? And left-wing politicians adapted this in America from the UK and Europe. You see the pattern, the psychological pattern, the psychosis of how they try and shut people up. And keep in mind, I'm multi-ethnic. I got some Native American. I got, of course, strong European. Got a little bit of Asian way back and stuff. So people are going to say whatever they want to say anyway. There's a reason why I call this Tano's hardcore media, because
I go to school with, kids I grew up with, converting to Islam, becoming part of jihadist gangs. 2013, I looked at the statistics by 2070, and I looked at all the demographical change. The white and black community were going to increase by 1.3 to 1.4%. Yeah, the Bangladeshi and Pakistani community by 70 to 80%. So that is how quick the whole town changed. Just whack. What's happened? So where you might be in a community where you think there's not that many Muslims, but they've all got 5 or 6 kids. So go to the local school in that community. So it might be a majority non-Muslim community, but when you go to the lower school, it's all Muslims.
Okay.
Yeah? It's the birth rate of the Muslim community, which is a ticking time bomb for Europe.
Why are you concerned with the Muslim community and its growth?
Because of the jihad, the non-integration, the segregation, the hostility, the violence, the grooming, the rapes, the prostitution, the heroin.
The rape. That's what it is.
All of these problems, female genital mutilation, there's so many problems that come out of that community which the government just don't deal with. It's a no-go zone for non-Muslims, yeah? It's a whole entire massive area. And it started off when I was little as a little area. Now it's just massive. This town will never be English again. Say that out loud. All the history of Luton Town, this is now an Islamic town.
And if this were a Sikh town, would you have the same problem?
I wouldn't have a problem, no.
Tell me why.
No, because the Sikh community integrate, assimilate, and they work very hard. There's no dominating gangs. They're not attacking our culture. In fact, they integrate and they become British. And unfortunately, that's not every Muslim, of course.
And that's the thing. It isn't all Muslims and stuff. I gotta reiterate, for any dumbass POS that's gonna label this as racist, no. Okay, the Sikh communities and the Hindu ones, okay, a lot of the Hindu ones that's like, say, from India and stuff, because the UK, the UK owned India as a colonization, do history on that. So went back and forth, migrations back and forth, but they integrated into the society, into the ideologies and into the politics. They didn't try to change it for their own and make, and force it upon others. And this is something that I've reported and done stuff on with Europe, the EU, and what is happening here in America. And so thousands, hundreds of reports.
Of course, look, I'm not saying every Muslim is a problem, but I'm saying per se, the Islamic community, there's no integration, assimilation, there's big problems. Straight on, bro, just pull up straight on that road and we'll get out of the car there, yeah? On the double yellows.
Okay. And is Luton ruled by Sharia law right now?
The Islamic community, the Islamic areas, yeah. That's their areas ruled by Sharia law.
Are we at risk coming in here with you, given who you are?
We are at risk, but it's 10:30 in the morning and a lot of them don't get out of bed.
So we made our way into...
It's just 10 in the morning. You're not going to get jumped, are you?
To Luton, Tommy's hometown, and where he's public enemy number one.
What are you trying to say?
There's many times I've been attacked in this town centre, many times I've come under violent confrontation in this town centre, but this is my town centre. You see what these are? You obviously understand what these are.
What are these?
These are diversity barriers.
These?
Well, they're to stop terrorist attacks.
It's real?
I'm not joking.
They call diversity barriers. You see the political wording and stuff like that? The diversity barriers, instead of calling it terrorist barriers, where like in the US they have them there because there's some idiots, doesn't matter what color you are, there's always some idiot that wants to run over people because they're fucked up in the head.
They're diversity barriers. This will go straight back up now, and these are the cars coming through and mowing everyone down.
Okay.
And we have these in every town centre. You know, our Christmas markets now are literally just entire things like this, fortified to get anywhere near the Christmas market because they expect cars to come flying into them. So, as I said, the more Islam, the less freedom.
Okay, so are you Islamophobic?
There's no such thing as Islamophobia. Phobia is an irrational fear.
Sure.
All the things I talk about. When you pick up the Quran, there's a...
This is a thing that they do. Again, I'm independent, but it's like, because, again, I have to say, the right has their stupid things to do with religion. And there's stuff that I don't like with the right that I hate. And there's stuff with the left that I hate. And one of that is that they put phobic. And if you know psychology, like I do, because I know psychology pretty damn well, even oh God, that's different. Some celebrities I know have tried to use psychology stuff on me. It's like, you can't use psychology against someone that is almost like a master of it in certain ways. But they use phobic as a way to attack a person for bringing reasonable arguments to bear and reason for fact. And they'll say, phobia, this phobe or that phobic, and that's not true. Phobic means you have an irrational fear, like you're screaming scared. All right, it's like with spiders, snakes. You're just scared shitless. That's not what's really happening. People need to learn the real meanings of these words, because most don't have the intelligence to know what real phobias are.
100 verses in the Quran which incite violence against non-Muslims. There's 4 verses in the Quran that say that Muslims can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. Actually, one of those verses say they're blameless. Now, when we see the statistics that we have in the UK, Muslims make up 5% of the UK population. They're responsible for 90% of the convictions of groups of men that young kids. Why? Why isn't it Sikhs? Why aren't the Jews doing that? Why aren't the
90%? I like some fact checks too with stuff from everything. Keep in mind, each side is going to have their
Hindus doing that. Why is it the Islamic community, 30% of the men convicted of gang rape of children are called Muhammad? Islam promotes it.
You think Islam promotes it or extremist Islam?
Muhammad was an extremist. Muhammad beheaded 600 people in one day. Muhammad women. Muhammad married a 6-year-old when she was 9. When people say about extremism or Islam, there is only Islam. There's not extremist Islam, moderate Islam, there's Islam.
Can you explain the difference between cultural Islam and religious Islam?
Many Muslims are just born with a Muslim identity and they feel like they have to defend it, yeah?
Okay.
But even when you're talking about it, they don't know what they're defending.
Sure.
They don't know everything about the life of Muhammad. They don't know he murdered, he pillaged.
And the thing is, like I've said, is that it's the politicians' fault. Bringing them in here, it creates this hatred. And it just about creates racism because they don't care about the native people. In the United States is where the politicians have shitted on the American citizenry and put Americans last and put illegals and migrants first and giving us stuff for free. This is the same with the UK. They're putting them first, and it's creating this hate, and which could lead into racism. How long would it take to heal from this? And by then, Europe, as we've known it, is totally destroyed and gone. There isn't a Europe anymore. I remember stuff happened with the Roman Empire, how the Roman Empire fell, and that's from different tribes, and pretty much just vibrant stuff like that, and how it fell from that. Migrants in different tribes, just totally.
They don't know the life of Muhammad, but they're born Muslims. So I'd say they're cultural Muslims. But then you have the real religious fanaticisms, the fanatics, which this town is full of.
Or how did this town become the terrorist capital of Europe?
Well, because we allowed Al-Mujahideen, in fact, our government foreign policy was to actually, when the Soviet war was going on, when it suited us to fund radical Islam with the Taliban and groups like this in Afghanistan, we gave home to many of these groups. So this group in this town centre, Al-Mujahideen, who
we did. This is, for anybody that doesn't know history, most people don't know history, is that this happened, of course, when Russia invaded Afghanistan. And it was America, CIA, that gave them arms. And the Taliban was created from us helping them. The UK also helped because proxy wars, communist versus freedom, stupidity of government. Oh my God. Is it something how the CIA and intelligence from different countries, MI6, stuff like that, cause this stuff, and they don't always do it. It's not always on purpose until the last 20 years that this has been happening, or 15. But it was that, you know, they brought them over here, and we're trying to do a good deed by allowing them over there, you know, UK, stuff like that, to flee communism and death and everything else. But with some of that, obviously, there was extremists that come in with these different wars, and they feel like they have a right to bring it over here when they don't. Whereas this country or those, they don't. Your job is to integrate with our lives, our freedom of thought, our freedom of expression, our freedom of speech, and to not force change on the countries you go to. Could you imagine me going to China and me trying to force my politics, my freedom of speech, my freedom of expression? I can tell you I'd be in an internment camp. And that does happen to people. They do have internment camps there.
A prescribed terrorist organisation, their head office was here, in my town. There's 60% of the Muslims in jail for terrorism, ex-members of that group. Their head office was in this town centre.
One day to eradicate Islamic law from Britain, with the generations to come from the rest of the world, to fulfil the prophecy of the Prophet that the whole of the world will one day be under the authority of the Muslims.
In 2004, I started my first demonstration against them. In 2004, called Ban the Looting Taliban. And I was targeted since then by Islamic gangs for trying to talk out. And all I was trying to highlight is, these are jihadists, these are terrorists. And literally, where we're walking now, you see there's a bakery here called Don Miller's Bakery. They used to have a stall set up every Saturday recruiting for terrorism. If you want to know how powerful the word racist is, if you want to know how the power of political correctness, our entire police forces across the country were paralysed with fear to allow the rape of a generation of our daughters. 1,000 girls in Telford, 1,400 children in Rotherham. The police were fully aware that the children were being prostituted, ganged and kidnapped by Muslim gangs, and the reason they didn't act, which has come out in government studies, because they were fearful of being called racist. An 18-year-old migrant who come on a boat 6 months ago murdered a 27-year-old Englishwoman who was working in the hotel that he was being housed in. So in hotels, there's a hotel here, there's a hotel there. Yeah, we can go to the hotels if you want after this, yeah? So in these hotels, they have housed so when migrants come into our country, they get put straight in these hotels. We pay for them. And just yesterday, an 18-year-old migrant murdered a 27-year-old Englishwoman working in the hotel. And 2 days before that, an Afghani put in a military base who we'd brought here to give freedom from Afghanistan, he sexually raped a 16-year-old.
So was there a public conversation?
Raped is the right word. I don't like where stuff is censored. He's doing that so he could get payment and stuff like that and everything. But I just want those words to be heard of what is happening. It is a crime. And fuck anybody that tries to censor that shit. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck you. Try to censor that. Try to censor truth. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of the channel. Get the fuck out of these channels and let truth be heard.
At this point, or did you start that? Did you pioneer the conversation discussing this?
No one would discuss it. Everyone's too scared to discuss it because when you try and discuss it, you just get attacked violently.
Were you violently attacked the moment you started talking about it?
Instantly. I've had 12 government Osman warnings. There's 6 Muslims right now in jail for 30 years. They got caught with guns, suicide bombs, everything on the way to murder us. They got there 2 hours late. They were arrested then in their car where they found their suicide vests, etc. I've been under constant attack, constant death threat, life in danger. Even just 6 weeks ago, my mum and dad had to be relocated for threat.
I'm surprised he isn't dead. He has people protecting. I don't know how many people he could call upon. But you can see both sides. This is a topic that usually people don't want to cover. I'm sure he did, but people wanted him to probably sometimes you have to cover it. Me, I've known this for about 10 years. This has been progressively worse and worse 10 years. This isn't just a few cases. This isn't just 20 cases. These are hundreds of cases, hundreds of them, at least. Within the past, I'd say 10 years, 15 years, 10, 15, something like that. And the truth really has to get out. And keep in mind, my videos, views are taken away. Views are taken away. They take away views, YouTube does.
It's to murder them.
So why make this your cause? Why were you willing to take on the threat here? Why is this so important to you? Why are you so concerned?
This is my country. It's our country. Let's stop pretending that we have welcomed guests into our nation, have now overstayed their welcome. They're changing this country. They're not here to integrate. They're here to dominate. And I know you've had immigration. When I hear about Americans and they're moaning about Hispanic immigration, I think you've got no idea, lads. You've got absolutely no idea. You have just opened your borders to 8 million migrants from Somalia, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. You're going to see what's coming.
We're walking right now. Are you concerned? Are you nervous?
Yeah, they'll be on the phones, 100%.
What do you mean?
Any one of them that would have seen us will be straight on their phones.
Doing what?
Phoning more Muslims.
For what?
To come and get us.
Come and get us? What do you mean?
To come and violently attack us.
For what? Having a conversation?
But, mate, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Tell me about the concerns you have regarding freedom of speech here in the UK.
He just gets in his head. He just got in his head.
Stop pretending it. There is no freedom of speech. We live in a post-free speech era. But the problem is the goalposts keep changing. So some people celebrated when it was me losing my freedom of speech. Yeah? When they were censoring me, or because I speak about Islam, but then they started censoring doctors, nurses, scientists. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about everything. So here's the Discover Islam Centre. So they're not going to be happy with.
Explain the significance of Discover Islam.
It's a charity shop that was opened in order to convert the town to Islam. Hey, bro.
Hello.
I'm all right, man. How are you?
How you doing?
The purpose of this shop is to convert the town to Islam. Right? That's right.
It's for dawah, yeah.
To convert to
dawah. Not to convert, to invite.
But before Tommy debates Islam with a recent convert, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video. In an age of media misinformation and media bias, it's tough to know what's fake news and what's real news. But luckily, the sponsor of this video, Straight Arrow News, can help you find fact-based reporting and coverage from the left, right, and center. They have this media mist tool that helps me stay up to date on what the biased mainstream news outlets don't report on both the left and the right. Media Mist spotlights important stories that both the left and right-leaning outlets don't cover, so you can stay up to date on important info like India and the US signing a $4 billion pact for 31 Predator drones, and goofier stories like Trump selling Vaga Donald's merch after his cameo appearance at McDonald's. And then their media landscape tool displays the news outlets covering the story and groups them according to their bias. And if you want to find the original coverage from the news outlets that covered it, you click the news outlets icon and it'll take you directly
Who wants a UFO? I want my UFO, baby.
And avoid
Give me my UFO.
Go to san.com/Tyler Oliveira or download their app for free. Thank you, Straight Arrow News. Now back to Discover Islam.
Like you don't want your own UFO.
The man who opened this centre, the first manager was called Yusuf Bonner, and he said he actually had to resign because I exposed who he was before they opened the shop. This was funded by Ira, Abdul Rahim Green, so the people behind this centre are radicals who believe in punishment for adultery, all these sorts of things.
What are your thoughts on that?
Nah, it's not true.
That is 100% true. Was you when this centre opened?
I can't believe he's doing that.
Behind it, and I done an expose. The manager had to.
He going to the fucking enemy lair. That's like me going to Blood's Crips. That's like me going to cartel territory. That's how insane this shit is. I get along with some Bloods and Crips too, man. But jeez, oh my god, what the fuck? He fucking goddamn. It's like going to mafia. It's like going to the mafioso, man. Going into the Italiano restaurant, all right? They're going in there and saying, hey, what are you doing with this salami, man? What are you doing with this pepperoni? You know, you're doing salami, you know, and everything else. And what are you putting in this pizza sauce? You go into the cartel, hang out, you know, or something, and you go, yo, man, what you guys doing? What's this marijuana here, man? What you guys doing?
The day it opened.
Well, I don't know too much. I've only been working here like a few months, to be fair.
Okay. When did you convert, bro?
Me, a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
How do you like Islam thus far?
It's peace. It's peaceful. Like it makes me feel like I can show the world the true me. And it's the true religion, really.
Can we get the Quran? Have you got the Quran? Can I touch it?
I like to know.
You sure, yeah?
Why can't you touch it?
I want to hear. I want to hear actually both sides, because I don't like being one-sided. And there is two sides. There's good people that are Muslim and that practice Islam and stuff. But like with their kind of people, there are stupid extremists. You know, so
I'm not clean.
I see.
If you can look at verse 65. So this, as for such of your women as despair of menstruation, if you're in doubt, their period of waiting shall be 3 months, along with those who have it not. And for those with child, their period shall be till they bring out their burden. Now, what's that mean?
Me, I don't know. Like I said, I've only been
that talks
like
about divorcing prepubescent children.
How the fuck do you not know all the words? How do you not know all the fucking words, kid? What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You represent, you're doing this of the Quran. And you have to know the Torah, Jewish, and the Bible. You need to know what the fuck you're representing before you get into that. Know your shit. Know your shit. Know your stuff. Know your stuff. Why do people join these religions and they don't know what's in these books, what it represents? And most people that are religious, they don't go through all the scriptures, they don't memorize them. Only the real devout ones and the extreme ones know that. And of course, with some of the religion, they will twist those words and they'll say that that's the law of that religion. It's not just Islam. All of them. You have extremists, and you got other scholars that they'll twist the words that are in these Bibles, and they'll try to brainwash people. And if you're to go into any fucking religion, you better know what the fuck's in those books. And you better not go to a place and represent a religion without knowing the facts, without knowing what's in the book.
I'm still doing my research myself.
I don't want to put you back. Okay, so if you're new, I'm not here to.
Yeah, sorry. I guess
Yeah, you are.
My problem, so not to put you in an awkward position, yeah, because my problem is that verse talks about divorcing prepubescent children. That's what that verse is about. Yeah. So Muhammad married Aisha when she was how old?
That we do not know fully yet.
Know. We know from Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, the two of the leading world hadiths. So how old was Muhammad then when he married Aisha? How old was Aisha?
Aisha was probably about between 9 and 11, I would say.
She was 6. So Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim are two of the most recognised. The problem is, it's great if you think she was older. That's still a bit strange at 9-11. But it's great if you think she was a lot older. But the problem is Sahih Bukhari, which is authentic, has 5 leading authentic hadiths, and they state that she was 6 years old, and he raped her when she was 9. They'll say marriage.
Would you date an 11-year-old?
No, obviously not.
So do you believe Muhammad was...
I hope not.
Yeah.
But Muhammad, you just said married an 11-year-old.
Because things were different back those days, they weren't.
So he wasn't perfect.
Religion that does that.
If you look back in history, like even kings of England, they married
Richard
younger.
Lionheart had an 11-year-old wife.
Yeah,
we don't think Richard Lionheart's perfect. We don't want to build this whole country based on what...
Back then, 13, 15 was the norm, because people didn't live as long in old in older days as they do today. You usually died in your 40s back in those days. It is rare to see somebody in their 50s or 60s. Only well-to-do people, usually, or good health, would be in their 50s or 60s. That's why is married young and stuff like that. And people should just do history, just learn.
What Richard Lionheart lived his life as, whereas you want this country to be on what Muhammad lived, yeah?
Me, like I said, I'm still new in it. I'm still new to Islam, like, so...
My point was that this shop has been opened by my council.
He's still new at this. Give him a shot. Give him a chance. Give him a chance to learn. Look, man, they got balls going in that place. I mean, they could have gotten their asses kicked, you know.
Convert everyone to Islam. And unfortunately, look, you've got a revert here. You'd call yourself a revert. I'd say a convert who doesn't actually know anything about Islam.
Do you think that's true?
No, I do know a little bit, but obviously I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Student.
So you're a student, but you're not allowed to leave Islam now.
What would happen if you left Islam?
What would happen if you left Islam?
Nothing.
So Muslims should be free to convert to Christianity.
A lot of them are. To be fair.
Should they be free to convert to Christianity?
If that's what they want to do, yeah, of course.
So Muhammad says they have to be killed. Mate, if you come back to our side, put you in, and
I made the choice to come to Islam.
So if you don't think that was heavenly, like Allah has sent someone to marry a child and have sex with her when she was 9, is that perfect? Come on, bruv, is it perfect?
That one I have to go to no comment.
You have to go no comment. So your point is, you know it's not perfect. So what you've joined is
boxers is going on.
Ashcroft.
So from Upstopsley.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from. How old are you?
31.
31. See how the town's changed?
16.
See, the town's changed because you ain't got no identity, bruv. Because your identity, you're a young English man. You should be proud of who you are, not searching for this. And the reason that this is strong is because Islam has a strong sense of identity, and we've lost our identity, and we've lost our community, and Islam gives them this.
Yeah, like with the black people in America, how Islam has gone into black people of America and stuff like that. It's given them a sense of identity and in America and stuff like that. And I tell people, it's like being on the other side of near-death experiences. God or gods, you know, religion doesn't matter, it doesn't get you into heaven. These are stupid, human-made bullshit, tribal-made religions. And they're usually there to make, these religions are there to make one feel holier than thou, okay, to make people feel that they're better than others. And like to say that I'm better than you, I got this, I got that, I'm better than you. And that's what these religions do. And I've gone into this before. You don't need religion to get into heaven. Heaven is also a state of mind. It's not just one place in the clouds, it's also where you want to go. With near-death experiences, I know this from my experiences. And you don't need God, you don't need Jesus and this other stuff. Yes, they exist. But not in the way that you guys think they exist, okay? And, man, how it's fucking insane how humans let tribal religions, so over 3,000 years old, that hate each other, been at war with each other for 2,000 plus 3,000 years plus, and they're remade from other religions into the religions we have today. And they believe that the bullshit, really. You want to go to God, God loves everybody. Okay? God isn't just one being, but many. There is a Jesus, Yeshua, stuff like that. But it doesn't judge you. You're not being judged by the way you think and stuff that you do. Religion is there to make others feel that better than you, holier than thou. That's not, nobody is better than anybody else. Nobody is. Nobody. And that's the falseness of religions, you know. The best ones I know of is of Buddhism, Taoism, stuff like that.
Verse 424. Yeah?
He's got a verse.
424. And all the married women are forbidden except those captives whom your right hand possesses. It is a degree of Allah for you, lawful to you all beyond those mentioned, so that you seek them from your wealth in an honest wedlock, not debauchery. And those of whom you seek by marrying them, give to them. So all of them who are captive, this is the verse, there's 4 verses that tell Muslims clearly that outside of their 4 wives, they can take non-Muslim women, our daughters, as sexual slaves. That's why I have a problem. Bro, I embrace you to leave Islam. Okay? Come back, man.
Okay, Tommy, question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Let's say you have a Bible verse that says, stone the gays or something like that, Sodom and Gomorrah. Would there be an argument to be had that you shouldn't?
The Bible verse is stories put together. This is the exact word of Muhammad, and it must be taught. And there's no messing with this. This can't be changed. Muhammad was perfect. As I said, Muhammad was perfect. Was he perfect? Married a 6-year-old? No. Murdered. Do you know how he met his wife Sophia? Now look into it, bruv, because he beheaded her husband and he beheaded 600 of the tribe, and the night of beheading her husband, he married her.
And where's that information?
That is in Ibn Ishaq's biography of Muhammad. Again, the most recognised biography of Muhammad you'll ever get in the world, written by the biggest scholar in the world, Ibn Ishaq, and in there it says in black and white, the tribe, the Cayuba tribe surrendered. He beheaded 600 of them in one day, and then that night he took Sophia as his wife. Now what Muslims say is he saved her from a life of rape.
Christianity, the Bible, I gotta be fair. Christianity has it where God said, kill all the Canaanites, all this stuff, and all these other tribes. Kill them all, the women and the children. So you can say the same thing about Christians. This is the bullshit of religions that I don't respect in any way. Because they're just a bunch of ancient tribes. So they're changing things around. God's around, names around as well. But these are ancient tribes that people are still killing each other of for bullshit reasons. And people are stupid enough to believe these religions. And to hate each other for it.
But he to that night, bruv. That's no perfect man. Anyway, I'll let you go.
Now, after having this chat, Tommy and I dipped as we were concerned the local gangs might pull up and jump us given who Tommy was. But one of the journalists trailing us stayed behind and asked this guy why he converted in the first place.
So basically the reasons were because my dad actually follows Tommy Robinson, and him hating Islam so much got me interested in Islam to find out why they hate Islam so much. Sorry. Yeah, Tommy's just turned up to the centre, bro. Nah, he's just jumping in his car now, but he's made the video.
They want to kill him.
Sorry. Yeah.
He doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know where he's come from. That is our entire next generation. Our entire next generation don't know who they are. They've been beaten down so much, abused so much, made to feel worthless, made to feel ashamed of who they are. Now, when Muslims are telling us openly, the reason I'm doing this is because the book says this, we have to take them seriously and we have to look and explore what are the teachings of Islam? What does Muhammad say? Who is Muhammad? You see, when I started looking, he doesn't know anything.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know anything about Muhammad.
We put him on the spot, yeah.
We put him on the spot, but he doesn't know anything about Muhammad.
Sure. Well, so
Here he is to tell people to join Islam, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. This was pushed by my council.
Yeah.
My local council opened this. All my local leaders of the council come down and had a big photo, and when they've done that, I'll dig it up for you.
Yeah.
I researched into who was behind it and proved they're all terrorists. The leader of this, Yusuf Bonner, said that he will not rest until Islam is brought into every home in Luton. Well, guess what? I'm from Luton, and we don't want Islam in every home in Luton.
Okay.
This is our town.
Do you believe the objective is for them to conquer and pillage?
Well, no, they'll tell you the objective.
Now, Tommy.
Come on, because there'll be more of them. I told you.
Yo, my name's Hassan.
Hey! Luton represent! Yeah.
In another 10 or 15 minutes, this road will be swarmed with Muslims.
You actually think so?
Oh, I know so.
And what is their objective? To defend the precepts of Islam?
Yeah,
to kill you?
They had to kill me, to stop any criticism of Islam, to stop someone showing someone like that what Islam is.
Well, what you did was basic media literacy. You pointed to some concepts, some verses. What do you mean you're not allowed to? Did they not read the book themselves? Or did they say it's a non-literal?
They could say that that's hate speech there in the UK. You talk out of turn for that, and the way the authorities are there now, they'll say that that's hate speech if you're pointing out fact about these verses. They're saying that you're creating problems, you're creating violence. They just, oh my God, can't believe. They're creating insensitivity, you're not being sensitive to others. But isn't that what people are supposed to do? Talk about things that we're not always comfortable with, to come to an understanding, try and get along with each other? That's what humans are supposed to do instead of always fighting each other and stuff. And this is what, it's come to.
Interpretation of the works, and you shouldn't take
You're not allowed to talk negatively, Mohammed, or they want to kill you. So straight over here, to the left, Bob.
Got
to the
it.
left. So basically, this is the future of Great Britain.
Halal, cash and carry. Arabic.
Well, where are we? If you look,
I would say we're in the Middle East.
This is my hometown. This is my hometown.
And was it always this way?
No, it wasn't. No.
So you grew up when this was a British town?
I grew up when there used to be a McDonald's there, and I used to come down here with my mum.
You used to have fish and chips here?
Used to have fish and chips. Look, I grew up here, mate.
Okay.
This town, look, the whole town, it's gone. The whole town's gone.
Have British people fled the town? Have they left? Have they said, I no longer belong here?
Left. Everyone in my generation has left. I haven't got a single friend left in this town. Out of my generation is deaf. You're not allowed to criticise. He's talking about, you can leave Islam. No, you can't. Leaving Islam is punishable by death.
What if he left?
Go right here. If he left, he'd be bullied, attacked. He can't leave.
Just
he knows
like
he can't
with
leave. Is that road we just drove down?
Yeah.
Walk through there, and that is a microcosm of the future of Great Britain. Yeah, it's Islamic. I'm just here to explain to you as an American, these centres are opened in every one of our towns, and the purpose of these centres, which are funded by our local Labour councils, is to convert the town to Islam. So the local Labour political party, which is your Democrat party, are funding the conversion of the town into an Islamic ghetto like this. And what comes in an Islamic ghetto like this? Is it freedom? Are the women free? Can women walk down here at night? Could an English woman walk?
What would happen?
They come under attack. They'd be sexually harassed. So if he was an imam, you'd have got the real answer out of him. Yes, they want to kill homosexuals. Yes, they can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. They're allowed to. That's halal. We're allowed to do that. That's another mosque.
Cockney, Community Luton.
Madrasas. So they stopped going then to British schools. That's a school. So then their whole life, and there's interviews with
Muslims. Self-segregating.
There's interviews with Muslims here that I can show you online where they say, well, I left school and I've left school and I've never met a non-Muslim. So they haven't even met a non-Muslim. Yeah?
Here in Luton, in England.
Here in Luton.
Why even come here is my question. If their goal is to recreate where they...
To dominate the world.
Do you think the goal is truly world domination?
Islamic. Islam splits the world into two. The House of War and the House of God. Yeah? We're the House of War until we're fully converted to Islam, and then we become the House of God. The identity and culture of it is very powerful, and it's changing the face of this country forever. And who's going to stop it? Because our politicians ain't. Are we going to just sit and play the lottery of Great Britain's future and our children's future? Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens when Islam gets to 20%. No, let's not see. Because we know what happens throughout the whole of history. In fact, they're actually taught at which percentage to start war. War's coming. Whether we like it or not, we have 40,000 British Muslims on a terror watch list. 40,000. We only have 70,000 members in the armed forces.
Do you think the UK ends in civil war?
Inevitably, the whole of Europe will end in civil war. Civil war's coming. If there's even a war. If not, it's just going to be Islamic takeover.
Got it.
Yeah, mate. The Andrew Tates, all these people, they've placed their bets as well. They see that Islam's going to win. It's going to become dominant because Christianity is weak at the minute. But that isn't the reality. I see it the total opposite. I see a resurgence of Christianity. I see Hungary. I look at Poland. I look at the rise of the populist right across Europe. There is only one solution to what's happening now, and that is resistance. Terrorist attack, jihad attack, stopped. If we didn't have the security services we had, there would have been a terrorist attack every month for the last year. Yeah? But we stopped them. So from aeroplanes, nightclubs, shopping malls, Christmas markets, we're at war. The public just don't realise it. 3,000 Muslims are on 24-hour day surveillance, 7 days a week. It costs them £9 billion a year. Why? Get rid of them. I'd be like, go on down the road, you fuck.
If you want to support our boots on the ground, independent journalism that is not bought and paid for by corporate interests, along with exclusive DLC content that YouTube won't let me upload, and uncensored early access to all my videos before they go up on YouTube, go subscribe at patreon.com/Tyler Oliveira for less than $5 a month. The average person is not willing to go to war to even say any of these things mentioning Muhammad.
I'm not saying go to war, yeah? What I'm saying is we have to understand what we're looking at and what do we want the future of Great Britain to look like. So I don't believe the political system can solve it. I believe we need a cultural revolution and a cultural movement. A cultural movement that celebrates identity, that combines and unites and brings everyone together. When I say everyone, every other section of minority group that's...
The thing is that, like I've said, people that come into our countries have to integrate, not dominate, not force their stupid views on ours. That's where fighting should, that's where you're gonna have a fight, rightfully so. You don't come into any of our countries and do that. You go to Russia, go to China, you go over to Asia, you can get executed, you can get beat up, you can put in a internment camp, you can end up in jail. And it's like over in Europe, UK, and America, it seems like people get attacked if people, raise their voice and they we point out how we've been wronged. And we're supposed to have freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Now, they don't have constitutions in the UK, which is why we came here, to America in the first place. It's because of monarchy, aristocracy, and the lords and everything controlling everything. The nobles. Same with Europe. There's aristocracy, nobility, and stuff that, and there's no constitution there. So, but thing is, there's a lot more freedom of thought and expression that migrants do not like with Western culture. And if people cannot willing to integrate, then you need to get rid of those people that cannot integrate into our societies.
Come to this country, have embraced it and loved it, yeah? And we are at a pivotal point in Great Britain. A revolution is brewing, I'm telling you, yeah? I have my finger on the pulse, so we've shifted the open window on that. Where's the open window currently now? People are starting to talk about remigration. People are starting to talk about mass deportations. Donald Trump is going to shift the open window for the whole of Europe when he gets in power. He's going to save Western civilization. Western civilization is imploding. It's disappearing. The identity, everything is going. I don't think people really understand. We've had people sent to jail for shouting at a police dog, for saying you're not English anymore, for waving an England flag, given prison for non-violent crime, sharing a meme on Facebook.
And the thing is, with Trump, and I vote for Democrats too, is that I see things globally. I get intelligence on a global scale. I see outside the United States. I can see everything. And you see the problems in all these other countries, how it affects here, how it's affecting other countries. You put the puzzle together, you put the pieces together. This stuff. And I'm for women's rights. I'm for LGBTQ, be whoever they want. But we voted to have more security in the United States and stuff, and our borders to be more secure, and too many bad things have been happening with the illegal border problem and jobs and how much inflation is going up. And this is happening in Europe. Inflation's going up. Illegals, migrants are getting stuff for free. They're getting housing for free. They're getting food for free a lot too. It's not just, over here, over there. It's a lot worse.
You get 6 months in prison.
Crying in front of an abortion center?
I faced 4 years in prison for making a film. We have no freedom, man, and the problem is they've always hid it. So they pretend with this facade. So the totalitarian state puts out that it's fair justice. There's no justice system. It's a legal system, and when they put a target on you, they're coming for you.
Tommy, do you think they're going to kill you?
Do I think they're going to kill me? I think there'd be a lot of people who are happy if I was dead, and I think that it would solve a lot of their problems because they've managed to instill fear in the public, and what we managed to do is show that we're not afraid. Everyone's converting to Islam. Everyone's searching for this other identity. White children are pretending to be black or talking like they're black. There's a big, massive cultural problem in the UK.
In 2021, for the first time ever, less than half of the population in the UK was Christian, down roughly 13% since 2011. In contrast, the Muslim population in the UK is only about 6.7% as of 2021, but it's grown 44% in that same 10-year period due to a combination of increased immigration and higher birth rates. In 2017, the Pew Research Center projected the Muslim population in the UK to reach 9.7% of the population in the year 2050 under a zero migration scenario, or to 17.2% of the population under a high migration scenario. This is almost a tripling of where it is now, but that would still make the population less than both Christians and atheists, unless Christians secularize rapidly over the next few decades. But ultimately, no one has a crystal ball right now to accurately predict migration patterns and birth rates in the next few decades. However, Tommy is concerned at the current trajectory of both of these things and what he believes to be the installment of Sharia law once communities become Muslim dominated and win the political majority. But right now, Tommy has bigger problems to deal with. Where are we headed right now?
We're heading to Folkestone. I've got on to about 3 o'clock. I expect to get there, be detained, and I'm gone.
Charges for?
Charges for terrorism because I didn't let them in my phone, and I believe I'll be gone for a couple of years.
Okay, I hope.
He had to leave the UK because of this. They don't allow free speech there. Like I said, if I went to the UK, I'd be charged for probably 20 years because I told the people to rise up against this piece of shit, Keir Starmer. What you are, a piece of shit, Keir Starmer. You're a piece of shit. Dictator thug. Fuck you, Keir Starmer. Fucking over my people. Anyways.
Hope that does not happen. And after driving to the police station, Tommy was now turning himself in ahead of his court date, charged under the Terrorism Act for refusing to give his phone password to the police under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act, the UK's equivalent of the Patriot Act. And he's currently facing a possible jail sentence over contempt of court claims after allegedly not showing up to a court hearing and fleeing the country upon being released on bail after allegedly breaching a court order to not air a film in Trafalgar Square, where the High Court ruled he had repeated libelous allegations against a Syrian refugee after Tommy failed to convince the High Court that the refugee violently assaulted a young girl. Tommy made an entire documentary with nearly 58 million views on Twitter to prove his innocence, but he ultimately lost the legal battle. Now he's turning himself in to face what he believes to be a biased, corrupt judicial system that previously rejected the testimony of children who testified in support of Tommy's claims, alleging they were assaulted by the Syrian refugee. Yet during that court case, the judge...
The kids said he was right, that were assaulted. Justice system is for people that are committing sexual assaults, committing these murders. Sounds
ruled that these girls were lying.
The neighbour had shared it, and then I saw on the Yorkshire Live them making Bailey out to be really horrible and that Jamal was a poor little victim, and it wound me up. So I commented on it. The victim wasn't a victim, he hit me in the back with a hockey stick. And then within the space of 2 hours I had about 250 comments saying that I was lying.
Public, what do you think? He's a Messiah. He's a Messiah?
Hello, Tom. How are you, man? You good? Where's Amit?
What are you being persecuted for right now?
Telling the truth and showing the public the truth of journalism. Journalism's dead. There is no... Let's go speak to journalists. Come on, come on, you're all journalists. Who are you a journalist for? You? Mate, who are you a journalist? Press agents. Who are you a journalist for?
PA.
You're for PA. So, have you watched my film?
I'm not.
Have you watched my film? You're a journalist. What are you for? So, have you watched my film? Look at this. Look, this is the problem. Totally controlled. Have any of you...
Can you guys say anything?
Have you watched my film? Have any of you watched the film?
Is it called silence?
Yeah, do you not? Do you know what I mean? Look, this is the problem.
Can they say anything?
None of them will ever report the truth.
Will they end up like you if they say anything?
This is totally controlled media. I've done what you should be doing, yeah? I filled your gap because you're all fucking failures. So all I've done is report the truth. I am being tried for giving facts to the public. Not tried, I'm going to go jail for giving facts. And whilst I do that, you'll all jump in on their side and you'll condemn me. You'll print their lies. Just watch the film.
How do you think this media will handle you after you go into jail?
They'll all just lie. They'll all say breaches injunction, lies about Syrian child, does this. They'll all just lie. All of them will lie. That's why you're here, Tyler.
Tommy Robinson. Oh, Tommy.
All right, Tommy, fight the good fight. Don't die in there. You know what you have to do, brother.
Go when you're there tomorrow. Just stand in, take it in, and think that a resistance has grown, man, and how far we've come, and that they can't put the fire out.
Tommy, be safe, be smart.
I will, man. See you later.
Hey, you may disagree with Tommy, but come on, freedom of speech, don't let that die with him. As Tommy turns himself in, awaiting judgment to see if he'll go to prison for contempt of court allegations for what he believes is, in reality, a punishment given to him for exposing the current government and coordinated media's corruption and lies. Before we learn what happens to him, we first need to go to the Unite the Kingdom rally Tommy has spent the last few months planning to see what the public thinks of Tommy's charges and the current state of England.
Tommy!
But expect for a fact there will be counter-protests that will arrive here. Anti-racism, anti-fascism, every organization against what they deem for this group to stand for. Talk to the public. What are they thinking? The patriotism is off the charts right now. What does this mean right here? The rip of Britain. Talk to me.
Exactly what's going on in the UK at the moment.
Who is ripping Britain right now?
Well, we've got the two-tier governments, the corrupt fucking governments are up in this country.
Is there any hope for Britain?
If they let Tommy out, we might. If we get a bit of reform, we might. But if Keir Starmer, Conservative, this country is...
Talk to me.
Fucking Starmer's a lodge man. Listen, he tells the truth. All it is, right? See, Tommy, why are you waiting to get arrested?
Yeah.
You tell me.
What do you think?
You tell me. Who are you arrested for? Fuck all.
The sheer quantity of stewards. You think they'll let him out?
I'm not sure. They have to, isn't it?
I say they will be. They'll have to let him out.
Is there concern for civil war here?
Oh,
yeah.
That's
a possibility?
If this carries on,
Yeah?
yes.
Do we have concern?
There you go.
Especially for our children as well.
All right, the patriotism is strong. What are you thinking?
Just outraged about what's going on in this country at the minute. Because our country's falling apart.
What future are you fighting for?
For our kids, man. I'm fighting for the kids and our ancestors. What our ancestors built over hundreds of years is now being crumbled.
The communists, mate, that's the communists over there. Them people over there are destroying our country at the end of the day. They're letting these people come into our country illegally, yeah? We don't know who they are, and they're raping our children and raping our women.
After getting a taste of the nationalist pride and frustration at Tommy's rally, I went to the Stand Up to Racism counter-protest to see what they were thinking. All right, would you like to share? All right.
Okay, there you go. Show him your sign.
F off Nazis. F off Nazis. Yeah. All right, would you like to elaborate?
I mean, I think he summed it up, really. Nazis, anti-Tommy Robinson, anti-division, pro-Palestine. So why are you here, Roshi? What do you feel about Tommy Robinson?
The thing is Palestine, that I've done articles on the real history, how the Roman Empire, I call it the curse of the Roman Empire. There never was a Palestine. It was made up by the Roman Empire when they took over Judea and renamed, which is Israel, Judea is Israel. They renamed named it Syria Palestina. Okay? It's in Italia. It was Italiano, it's from Italy. It's totally Italiano how it was done. It's in Italian and everything, so you have to go to translate. That's why they call it Syria Palestine. Okay. So, because of the revolts from the Jews, they renamed Judea to Syria Palestina. It became Palestine. And since then, then the Romans bring in anti-Judean tribes from neighboring countries, such as Syria, and you have Iran, you have Iraq, which didn't have those names back then. Okay, you have Persia, stuff like that, in neighboring countries. Okay, Egypt, stuff like that, and then when Islam came around right after Catholicism and stuff. But this is all from the Roman Empire. They brought in tribes that hated the Judeans. And when Islam was made, they hated the Israelis, which today, and 2,200 years later, 2,200 is more than 2,200 years, is what created this BS. This is Roma's fault. It's the Roman Empire, which I call, for good reason, the curse of the Roman Empire. But Palestine is pretty much a made-up country. It's a made-up country and stuff. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. I don't like what's going on in Gaza. I don't like that. What's happening over there is wrong. It has to stop. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't like how these stupid religions are just killing each other and stuff. I am for Israel having their own land and everybody has their side, stuff like that. But, yeah.
I want to eat him, he is a big He wants to eat him because he's a big fat dick.
Their argument would be we're the working class, we live in these communities where we see the problems. You guys say we're racist when we point them out.
I think there is some truth in that we're in a society where it's very difficult to point out things that people are unhappy with if it doesn't go with what is accepted.
What specifically are you concerned with in terms of harm? People damaging like mosques and that sort of thing?
Hate speech breeds actions of hate, right?
So to be fair though, this says f*** off Nazis. Do you think there's a bit of a double standard at play?
Well, they wouldn't consider themselves Nazis, but there are definitely similarities in the things they're saying and the ways that some of them behave.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's okay to be angry and to feel impassioned as long as you're not like smashing people's mosques or beating people up.
I saw your sign, smash fascism.
In my long life, I've seen times when people get attacked for no reason other than the colour of their skin or they're Jewish, they could be anything. A lot of racism exists. I've had some of it myself growing up, and it seems to be getting worse again. As a people, as humanity, we've only got one world.
It's not about they shouldn't get a life, and Amnesty International say they want to welcome all refugees, but they also think housing is a human right. How does that work? How are you going to do that? How are you going to welcome everyone in, yet also at the same time build infinite houses? It makes no sense. It's a utopia that's not going to exist. We have to look at the facts of life, the reality of life, the harsh reality of life, and it is unfortunate that the world is in this place at the moment, but we have to put ourselves first, and I think it's as simple as that.
Do you think the English people are being deprioritized over foreigners coming in and economic migrants and asylum seekers?
I think in an ideal world we would do both, but at the moment definitely the general public do feel that over the last 25 years at least our living standards have been pressed down and down and down, And then when we have social media that shows us right in our faces the migrants documenting their own journey across the channel, saying we're going to go there, we're going to get a hotel, and then you see it. Then you see them be in a hotel, and it's like, well, what about 84-year-old Doris, who's lived here all her life, and she hasn't got a home to live in? You know, shouldn't we be spending all the money on them?
And I'm seeing what's happening to the UK, and they're just a microcosm, really, of what's going to happen in the United States. They're ahead of us because their population's smaller. They aren't able to take this flood of illegal immigrants that's coming into their country. Their government's oppressing their right to their free speech. And I have a personal friend, Tommy Robinson, who I know that you know. And this is just, it's par for the course with how they treat Tommy, because Tommy is probably the most outspoken British citizen that they have. So any chance they get to silence him and keep him quiet is a great opportunity for them. So I'm here to support not only him, but the great British people that I've come to know and love.
They're going through so many countries before they get to ours, and then they're coming over, they're getting all the hotels, mobile phones, weekly allowance, 3 meals a day. Like, all our taxpayer money is going to them, 20 million daily. It's just going up and up and up. And also, like, the pressure of the government, you said about free speech. Free speech doesn't exist. People are posting stuff on Facebook and they're getting put in prison. There's millions and millions of people that don't even know about this event. Like, it's been suppressed.
I had to search multiple times on Twitter just to find the details.
It's borderline very suppressed at the minute. Almost like North Korea, I would like to say. The government are doing us over.
Separating us all.
Separating all them, black, white, whatever colour you want.
Okay.
You know,
at war with each other, and we shouldn't be.
Your primary concerns right now?
Free speech.
The lot. We need Britain back.
You know, you say certain things in this country on YouTube or other channels, like my channel, you'll be banned. If we continue down the line that our politicians wish to go, we will lose freedom of speech, we'll lose the dignity of the family, and we'll lose many of the values that my father, my grandfather fought in 2 world wars to keep.
What are your thoughts on Tommy Robinson, him turning himself into the police, terrorism charges?
Yeah, handing himself in, basically went to the police station because they were asking him a terrorism act on
his phone.
So if he's got like sensitive data on his phone that is to do with corrupt police and stuff like that, why would he give the PIN number to the policeman to get all the data, to go behind the back and do dodgy stuff?
The man's give up so much to make us aware of what's actually going on in the world. For years we've been blind in this country, believing the likes of Sky News and BBC. At the end of the day, they're being paid by the government to, do you know what I mean, say what the government want them to put out there, to make us believe these lies. If it weren't for Tommy, we would know nothing.
Tommy Robinson is one of the few true patriots we have in this country. Every so many generations we need patriots. He is our patriot. This is what they're afraid of.
We want Tommy out! We want Tommy out! We want Tommy out!
It seems like he's achieved true martyr status right now.
Tommy Robinson!
Immigrants, I think he's Islamophobic, he's a racist, he's a fascist, and this country has no place for him.
Do you think all of them are fascists, or some of them are concerned patriots and people just disenfranchised?
The people have a right to their opinion. I think refugees should be seen as an asset to this country. No one is illegal until such time as they're processed, and it's welcomed here.
I haven't felt...
The thing is, it's like illegals here, is that they're getting all of the country's resources for free. They get free housing at the cost, like here in America. People are getting kicked out of their own homes, old people. You have old people being thrown into prison for questioning and saying that the UK government is being oppressive and that migrants are causing these problems. And being kicked out of their own homes, their apartments. And migrants are getting free rent. They're getting free food as well, just like in the United States. What the fuck is wrong with you? How is he how are these people Nazis? You can't say you don't even know the definition of what a Nazi is. And you can't call somebody racist for calling out truth. You know, I mean, if a person's racist, that they're racist or whatever, and that's for hate of the color of their skin, or just hate of religion and stuff like that. But it's about people that in a two-tiered justice system that shits on the native people like it's happened here in America. And it's unfortunate that, you can't just vote in new people all the time. You can't do that as much as, they do have voting, but not like that we have here in America. You can vote and stuff like that, but it's not like how it is in America,
Felt right all day because this is the first time I've ever demonstrated without Tommy being there. So it's a little bit funny, but yeah, let's get it done.
What's the update on Tommy right now?
But the update on Tommy, I spoke to his lawyers yesterday. They told me that he's in good mental health. He was prepared for it. He had a conversation with us when we were at Nando's the other day as well. He's ready for the sentence. On that half, he's okay. I've been liaising with his family. Obviously, they're going through their troubles at the moment with everything that's going on. But all we can do is just support him. So when we get in court then, the judge will decide his outcome. So we just turn up then, we support him.
Are you happy or upset he's in jail?
Very happy. It's the least that he deserves after he incited literal race riots over the summer while in his 5-star hotel. And then he comes back to the UK and expects nothing.
Got it. Do you think he is a net positive or negative to British public?
A huge negative to the British public. He does nothing but cause division and grief for us.
Okay, besides him, what is your primary focus and reason you came out here today?
I feel like it's my basic duty as a British citizen to say that I stand against racism, refugees are welcome here, and that no far-right group has any place in British society.
What are your thoughts on some of the people that may say that some of these people are economic migrants and they're exploiting the generosity of you, the taxpayer, let's say?
I think that everyone deserves a home, and I think that if their home is going to be in the UK, if that's the best outcome for them, then they're welcome here.
It's disgraceful. We're concerned for our fucking children. You see the aftermath of Southport. My cousin died on the King's Cross bombings. What are we going to do? We're losing that safety net. It's frightening.
We're elevated. The sheer quantity of patriots out here is insane. They're chanting. They're waiting to march. Look at these people out here. Look at that.
Tommy Robinson is a fascist. He is a Nazi, and the people on that side are a mixture of racists and fascists. I'm sorry, we're not going to come here and say there's no concerned citizens on that side. If you let those people win, they'll come here, take away all your rights. So we stand against them 100%. This is the side of the people.
He's an antagonistic force and he shouldn't be free in the UK.
Do you think the average person over there is just a concerned citizen, or are they like a racist? What do you think?
I think most of them on that side are racist.
All racist. Some of them are fascists. This is Britain. This is where we want to be. Look on that side. All basically white men and women standing together, being racist together.
I notice you're black. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they call me a sellout. Yeah, they call me Uncle Tom. But, but I think it's more than race. I think this is about getting the country back. I think today it's more about the crime, the injustice in the tier 2 policing. So it's not just about race. I think it's more than that. It's deeper than that, because they like to divide and conquer.
Who's trying to divide and conquer you guys?
The high up, the elites.
And you're here today proudly because?
Globalists.
Globalists?
I think it all goes back to the same thing. So the far right, the struggle against bodily autonomy, for a free Palestine, against austerity. Every issue that we can point to will come back to a far right rhetoric. It comes back, it's the ultimate weapon of capitalism, and it's lashing out against us. It happens every time there's an unstable economy, which we're seeing after COVID. This isn't a surprise. We've seen this before, and we will always fight back against it. But I think it's a disproportional representation of what the actual problem is. Your enemy is not the migrant next to you. The enemy is the ruling class and capitalism.
Okay, I think even that side would agree, by the way.
This is not a culture war. This is a class war.
Got it.
We're still seeing these major austerity cuts. We're still seeing attacks on trans people. This is brewing and feeding and stoking the culture war to keep us away from the class war, because we have so much more in common with each other as working class people than we ever will for the ruling class.
Jamaicans, Africans, Indians, Sikhs, Hindus, British, we're all together. It's the government that have tried to keep us apart.
Yeah, I'm not racist. There's one race that's a human race. There is all different people.
That's the thing. It's the politicians that are fault that's creating the hate. It's not the people and everything. It's not even. Well, I'd say it's the migrants that are trying to change the country, but it's not totally their fault. It's the politicians that are at fault. At the cost of the native people, at the cost of the people. Native people suffering. The citizenry that are suffering. Let's take a look here. What people have to say. it is thrown way too much. It has lost its meaning. Yeah. Right, right. Getting arrested, Instagram, Reels, comments is crazy. That's communist dictatorship. I despair for Britain. I am Czech. I used to be married to an Englishman for 15 years, and Britain is my second home. To see what it is turning into is absolutely terrible. We have to stop this in the whole Europe. Let's see here. 76% of home burglaries went unsolved. That says a lot. Like how in the U.S. and other countries, they say crime is falling, but the police and law enforcement don't care to report it. That sounds very familiar. 76% of home burglaries. That's all yet police have time to lock up people for words. Yes, for words. That's what they're not making real terroristic threats, but they label words that are negative towards the government, calling them out for who they really are as terroristic. You know it's not. Attempt at serving the public. Fascist is the most fascist thing, that is facts, it is. Okay, and Poland versus UK. What a difference. Let's see, UK, you will make it through this. You guys are way too strong. And never give up. There's always hope. Love from Germany. Keep fighting, brothers. Let's see here. As German insulting how people throw around the word Nazi, it's like candy, so insulting, calling it peaceful demonstration of Nazi movement. Yeah. The Nazis were for just would kill you down extermination camps. Throw stones at you, beat you, and just kill you, stone you. Yeah. My grandfather was in France and he fought against the Nazis. So, for idiots to throw around words like that is total BS. But all those sheep reporters don't realize that they are losing their country too. Everyone who bashed Poland for not accepting people in their country don't seem to be so crazy right now. They're crazy now, right? Well, let's see. I changed comment like this guy's a pretty unbiased reporter. Just collect the information and give it to the viewer. Great job. I subbed to the channel. 1984 was supposed to be a warning, not an instruction manual. Yeah, it's not. You know, I've been reporting this at least 8 years. Americans, this is not isolated to UK. This is going on in Western Europe, especially France and the countries, and Sweden, absolutely catastrophic. So, it likes 20,000. So, but anyways, this is a very sensitive subject, and it's just that I want people to be enlightened. I know this is, people are to think what they want about me, and they're to get a lot of that is wrong. You know, reporting stuff like this, like I said, gave you some big, probably will give you some enemies in the adult industry. But I want everybody to have a right, freedom of speech, thought, expression, speech, the right to bear arms, just about any kind of arms against dictatorship, real fascism, and to be who you are, stuff like that. Anyways, everybody, have a good morning, noon, and night. Take care, everybody.